Yo, what is up YouTube? It's the Deli, back with another Destiny 2 build video, and today we're going to be going over my Strand Titan build for Season of the Deep. In this background gameplay, I am in the legendary Lightfall campaign mission Breakneck, which caps me 15 light levels below the recommended power level, and the survivability of this build is just insane. I'm going to have constant woven mail, and I'm going to constantly be suspending enemies, which makes them easy to clean up. And this is great for something like Grandmaster Nightfalls because I'll be able to apply woven mail to my teammates as well. Let's take a look at the build. Alright, so jumping into the build, the exotic leg armor of choice is going to be the Abeyant Leap. Abeyant Leap's armor perk is Puppeteer's Control. Dranger's Lash spawns 2 additional projectiles, tracks targets more aggressively, and travels farther. Gain woven mail when suspending targets. These are very strong legs. You're going to constantly be suspending enemies with this build, and we're going to be getting woven mail from that as well. This also picks up any champion type, so technically you don't need to stun champions, although it does help for something like Unstoppable so they take more damage, but these are just very solid for Grandmasters. Alright, so let's take a look at the super abilities, aspects, and fragments. We only have one option for our super, Blade Fury. It's really good because you can suspend and sever targets while in your super. For the abilities, we're going to be using Rally Barricade since it has a faster cooldown than Towering Barricade, and we're going to want this up at all times so we can constantly suspend enemies. For the jump, this is preference. I like Strafe Lift, and we only have one melee ability as well. It does apply Sever, which is really good. For the grenade of choice, we're on Shackle Grenade. You could use something else since we'll be suspending enemies using our aspect Dranger's Lash. But I do like Shackle Grenade, just another option to suspend enemies. For the aspects, our first aspect is going to be Into the Fray, destroy a Tangle, or casting your super grants woven mail for nearby enemies. This is really good. We're going to be creating a lot of tangles since we're going to constantly be killing things with our primary weapon, which is Strand, or just from our abilities. So we're going to be able to apply woven mail to our teammates using this or our weapon that we're going to showcase later on. For our second aspect, Dranger's Lash, this is very important in the build. Activate your class ability to create a ripple in reality that travels forward along the ground, suspending and damaging targets it hits. This is going to be very important in the build. We're going to be able to loop this, constantly suspending targets over and over again. This is what makes it very strong for Grandmaster Nightfalls. Now let's take a look at the fragments. Our first fragment of choice is going to be Thread of Mind. Defeating suspended targets grants class ability energy. You can see the synergy here already. We're going to constantly be suspending things, and then when we get final blows on them, it's going to give us more class ability energy. So we'll be able to loop this very, very well. Our second fragment of choice is going to be Thread of Continuity. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied to targets have increased duration. This is very, very key in the build. Since we're going to constantly be suspending targets, we're going to want them to be up, for even longer. And we're going to be able to apply Sever with our melee, our super, and our exotic weapon of choice. For our third fragment, we're going to be using Thread of Propagation. Powered melee final blows grant Strand weapons unraveling rounds. This is really nice. When we get melee final blows on targets that are suspended, we'll get those unraveling rounds, which does break anti-barrier champion's barrier. So just, another added bonus to the build. For our final fragment, you could run anything else you want here. This is kind of like a, preference fragment, but I like to use Thread of Binding. When I do get super kills, it's going to, cause a suspending burst around. So just free way to get, enemies suspended. Alright, now let's take a look at the weapons. Our exotic weapon of choice is going to be the Navigator Exotic Trace Rifle. This is the brand new Strand Trace Rifle that you can acquire from Ghost of the Deep Dungeon, and it's really strong. Its intrinsic trait is Protective Weave. Firing this weapon at an ally grants woven mail to both the user and the target. So this is just another way to get woven mail and to also grant it to your teammates. So this is very good for Grandmasters. Having that extra damage resist is always, very solid for high level content. For our special weapon of choice, since we're going to be utilizing this build in Grandmaster Nightfalls, I'm going with a Blinding GL. There's so many different options in the game that have disorienting grenades. I just like to use True Teller since it's void. And for our heavy weapon of choice, we're going to be using the Commemoration Machine Gun. You could use something like the Void Machine Gun from Volta Glass. You could use the Strand machine gun circular logic as well. I just really like commemoration since I have it crafted. Alright, now let's take a look at the armor mods on our helmet. We're going to be running one Strand Siphon and one Void Siphon. So I have Strand Siphon just because I'm using the Navigator so we can create orbs that way. And then also our secondary and heavy weapon are Void. So just, you know, multiple ways to create orbs of power. We're also going to be running one heavy ammo finder. Since we're running a double special build, we should get a lot of heavy bricks. And just swapping back and forth between Navigator and the machine gun, we'll also get special bricks as well. On our gauntlets, we're going to be using one focusing strike, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with your melee. So since we're going to be, you know, in the trenches constantly suspending targets, we'll be able to get, you know, easy melee damage using our powered melee. We're also going to be using one heavy-handed. Your power melee final blows create orbs of power. And then we're going to be running one impact induction. Causing damage with your melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. On our chest armor, this is preference, except for this slot right here. I think charged up is key, so you can hold more armor charge stacks. But for these two right here, you know, if you're running a Grandmaster Nightfall that has, you know, arc threat, you can throw an arc resist on. You know, these are just, you know, preference right here. On our exotic leg armor, we're running one Strand Scavenger and one Void Scavenger. You know, there are going to be tons of bricks we're creating since we're running double special, but I like to be able to pick up, you know, more ammo from those bricks. And then we're also going to be running one stacks on stacks. And finally, on our class item, we're going to be using one bomber, one powerful attraction, so whenever we use our class ability, we'll automatically collect orbs of power near us. And we're going to be running one font of restoration. So when we do have armor charge, it's going to give us a plus 30 to recovery. So I'm going to be sitting at triple 100 stats on this build. Alright, so here is a quick little overview of the build. You can see all of the armor mods I used right here. You can see all the artifact perks. Two of the artifact perks are important this season. We have improved Unraveling, increased the amount of damage dealt by unraveling a target, and Strand Soldier. Your Strand weapons gain unraveling rounds whenever you gain Woven Mail. So this is going to be really strong with this build. You're going to constantly be getting Woven Mail, so you should have unraveling rounds up almost all of the time. And the weapon and the respective roles. Thanks again for watching the video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn that notification bell on for more Destiny 2 content coming very soon. Thanks again. My name is The Deli, and peace.